Ancient India was not only a land of philosophy and religion, but also a fertile ground for science and technology. Many great sages authored vast literature on science and technology, of which sage Bharadvāja's Vaimānikaśāstra is one of the most renowned and relevant texts even during the technological peak of 21st century. There is mention of the use of aircraft in the Indian epics, Ramayana and the Mahabharata. As mentioned in the Ramayana, Ravana used Pushpaka Vimana, which had been captured from Kubera. However, Rama took charge of this aircraft after killing Ravana and used it to reach Ayodhya along with Lakshmana, Sita and others. Gavopakhana in Mahabharata also talks of using aircraft. Western scientists estimate the antiquity of this aeronautical science in India to be around 5,000 years. Indian scientists and critics have a different opinion about judging the number of years. They say that aircraft was used extensively during Ramayana and Mahabharata period, indicating that aeronautics was a much developed branch of science by that time. It also points to the fact that aircraft was developed much before this period. Aeronautics or Vaimānikaśāstra is a part of Yantra Sarvasva of Bharadvāja. This is also known as Bharadvāja. Vaimānikaśāstra deals with aeronautics, including the design of aircraft, the way they can be used for transportation and other applications in detail. The knowledge of aeronautics is described in Sanskrit in 100 sections, 8 chapters, 500 principles and 3000 shlokas. Great sage Bharadvāja explained the construction of aircraft and way to fly it in air, on land, on water and use the same aircraft like a submarine. He also described the construction of warplanes or fighter aircraft. Vaimānikaśāstra explains how the use of certain metals and alloys and other materials can make an aircraft imperishable in any condition. Bharadvāja in the Bharadvāja mentions Narayana Muni, the author of Vimana Chandrika, Shaunaka, the author of Vyomayana Tantra, Garga, the author of Yantrakalpa, Vachaspati, the author of Yana Bindu, Chakrayani, the author of K. Ayana Pradipika, Dundinatha, the author of Vyomayanarka Prakasha, and Lalla, the author of Yantrakalpataru, as the aeronautical scientists of ancient India. The first principle of Vaimānikaśāstra defines an aircraft. Vegasamyat Vimana Andaja Nama, which means Vimana is the one which can fly in air like a bird. Subsequent principles explain the requirements for being a Vimanadhikari or pilot. According to Bharadvāja, there are 32 secret techniques to fly an aircraft. They are Mantrika, Tantrika, Kritaka, Antarala, Gudha, Drishya, Adrishya, Paroksha, Aparoksha, Sankocha, Vistrita, Virupakarana, Rupantara, Surupa, Jyotirbhava, Tamomaya, Pralaya, Vimukha, Tara, Mahashabda Vimochana, Langhana, Sarpagamana, Chapala, Sarvatomukha, Parashabda Grahaka, Rupa Karshana, Kriya Rahasya Grahana, Drikpradarshana, Akashakara Rachana, Jalada Ruja, Stabdhaka and Karshana. In Jatyadhikara, which classifies aircrafts, says Jati Trividyam Yugabhedat Vimananam. The aircraft is classified into 3 types: Mantrika, Tantrika and Kritaka, to suit different yugas or eras. In the Krita Yuga, it is said Dharma was well established. The people of that time had the divinity to reach any place using their Ashtasiddhis. The aircrafts used in Treta Yuga are called Mantraka Vimana, flown by the power of hymns, mantras. 25 varieties of aircraft, including Pushpaka Vimana, belong to this era. The aircraft used in Dwapara Yuga were called Tantrika Vimana, flown by the power of Tantras. 56 varieties of aircraft, including Shaunaka, Sundara, and Rukma Vimana, belong to this era. According to Bharadvāja, Ganyeka Trimshat, which means there were 31 instruments to fly an aircraft, including Vishwakriya Darpana to see the surroundings from the aircraft and Shaktyakarshana Darpana to absorb solar energy. Manufacturing of different types of instruments and putting them together to form an aircraft is also described. In Vastradhikarana, the chapter describes the dress and other wares required while flying, talks in detail about the wear for both the pilot and the passenger separately. Aharadhikarana is yet another section exclusively dealing with the food habits of a pilot. This has a variety of guidelines for pilots to keep their health through strict diet. The Samarangana Sutradhara is an encyclopedic work on classical Indian architecture written by Paramara King Bhoja of Dhara, who lived between 1018 to 1060 AD. In 83 chapters, subjects treated are town planning, house architecture, temple architecture, and sculptural arts, together with mudras, the canons of painting, and a chapter on the mechanical contrivances, the yantras. This chapter on yantras deals with ghatana, the art of mechanical constructions, delineating upon the definition of yantra, its elements, qualities, and manifold varieties of pleasure machines, toy machines, the machine of warfare, as well as the domestic machines like Dwarapala Yantra, the soldier machine, etc. Samarangana Sutradhara contains 230 stanzas that are devoted to flight. It describes in detail every possible aspect of flying. The Vimana Yantra like Vyomachari Viha Gamayantra, wooden brief machine traveling in the sky, and Akashavani Darumaya Vimana Yantra, wooden aeroplane flying in the air, together with varieties of Vari Yantra, Dhara Yantra, and the Rathado La Yantra, the swinging machines, are described in the text. Some of the ideas which have been translated are: the aircraft which can go by its own force like a bird on the earth or water or through the air is called the Vimana. That which can travel in the sky from place to place is called Vimana by the sage. The body must be strong and durable and built of a light wood, Lagudharu, shaped like a bird in flight with wings outstretched, Mahavihanga. Within it must be placed the mercury engine with its heating apparatus made of iron underneath. In the larger aircraft, Daru Vimana, because it is built heavier, Alaghu, 4 strong containers of mercury must be built in the interior. When these are heated by controlled fire from the iron containers, the Vimana develops thunder power through the mercury. The iron engine must have properly welded joints to be fitted with mercury, and when the fire is conducted to the upper parts, it develops power with the roar of a lion. By means of the energy latent in mercury, the driving whirlwind is set in motion, and the traveler sitting inside the Vimana may travel in the air to such a height as to look like a pearl in the sky. Bharadvāja's Vaimānikaśāstra is not as popular as Vastu or Ayurveda due to various reasons. Vaimānikaśāstra was never considered to be of much use in day-to-day life, and experimenting with the concepts was difficult due to technicality and scientific nature. It was also considered that the Vaimānikaśāstra would be misused if it were put to common man's knowledge. Historians also quote yet another interesting reason for keeping the Vaimānikaśāstra out of reach for all and sundry. Fear for the theft of the Shastra during invasions was one such deterrent against the wide circulation of the text, which in return might have hampered further study or experiment. Among many significant contributions of ancient Indian scientists, Vaimānikaśāstra is notably a towering work dealing with Vimanas and allied topics. As a subject, aviation has its own charm over other disciplines even in these days. It is the firm view of many scholars that mere knowledge of Sanskrit or science or both plays little role in true understanding of such a work. The authors were intelligent to use coded terms, symbolic expressions, and archaic language to safeguard knowledge against falling into unauthorized hands. For right understanding, true flair in Sanskrit and science, along with an expertise to decode and interpret with reference to context, are the key.